My sister wore my college graduation regalia and took photos. Pretending she was the graduate, I spent 28 years working toward a moment that was supposed to be mine. I was the first person in my family to graduate from college, and I'd done it through sheer determination. Late nights, endless exams, and the constant fear that I'd never make it. But I did. I made it. And on the day of my graduation, I was supposed to walk across that stage and finally feel proud of myself. Instead, I stood in a dressing room watching my sister wear my cap and gown, holding my diploma, posing for photos with my family. They were laughing, smiling, celebrating her as if she'd accomplished something. I was invisible. When I confronted my sister Miranda, she told me she just wanted to see what it felt like. My mother told me to let it go, because Miranda didn't mean any harm, but it was harm. It was theft, and I was done pretending otherwise. The day of my graduation started like any other day. I woke up early, my stomach churning with a mixture of excitement and nerves. I'd spent the last 4 years working toward this moment. Late nights in the library, endless cups of coffee, and the constant pressure of maintaining a GPA that would make my family proud. I was the first person in my family to earn a college degree, and I wanted everything to be perfect. I'd laid out my cap and gown the night before, carefully hanging them in my closet. My diploma was in its case, waiting to be displayed on my bookshelf. I'd planned everything down to the smallest detail. The photos I'd take with my parents, the celebratory dinner afterward, the sense of accomplishment that I'd finally earned. But I should have known that nothing would go as planned. My younger sister, Miranda, had always been jealous of my academic success. She'd dropped out of high school, bounced between dead-end jobs, and spent most of her time complaining about how unfair life was. She'd never understood why I worked so hard, why I sacrificed so much. She'd always been the golden child in our family, the one who could do no wrong, the one who got all the attention, the one who never had to try. My mother had always favored Miranda. It was a pattern I'd grown used to over the years. Miranda needed more support, more attention, more love. I was the independent one, the strong one, the one who could handle things on her own. I'd accepted it, even when it hurt, but I never imagined Miranda would go this far. The morning of the graduation, I was in the dressing room, getting ready for the ceremony. My cap and gown were hanging on the back of the door, and my diploma case was on the counter. I was putting on my makeup, my hands shaking with excitement, when I heard my mother's voice from the hallway. "Miranda, that looks wonderful on you." I froze. Something in my mother's voice made my stomach drop. I walked to the door and peered out. What I saw made my blood run cold. Miranda was wearing my cap and gown. She had my diploma case tucked under her arm. She was standing in the middle of the hallway, posing for photos while my mother clicked away with her phone. My father was there too, laughing and clapping as if this was the most natural thing in the world. "What are you doing?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. Everyone turned to look at me. Miranda's smile faltered for a moment, but she quickly recovered. "Oh, Avery, I was just trying on your stuff." I wanted to see what it felt like to be a graduate. I stared at her, unable to process what I was seeing. "You're wearing my cap and gown. You're holding my diploma. Those are my things." "I know," Miranda said, shrugging. "I was just playing around. It's not a big deal." My mother stepped in, her voice light and dismissive. "Avery, don't be so dramatic. Miranda was just having some fun. She didn't mean any harm." "Fun?" I repeated, incredulous. "This is my graduation day, my day. And she's wearing my stuff and taking photos like she's the one who earned it." Miranda rolled her eyes. "You're always so uptight. It's just clothes, Avery. Get over yourself." I felt the rage rise in my chest, hot and suffocating. Get over myself? I worked for 4 years to earn this. 4 years of late nights, of sacrificing everything. And you think it's funny to steal my moment? "It's not stealing," Miranda said defensively. "I was just borrowing it. I was going to give it back." "Borrowing it?" I laughed, a hollow, bitter sound. "You took my things without asking. You put them on without permission, and you're taking photos like you're the graduate. That's not borrowing. That's theft." My mother stepped between us, her face flushed with anger. "Avery, that's enough. You're being unreasonable. Miranda was just having a little fun. It's not like she's actually taking your degree. She's just taking some photos." I looked at my mother, really looked at her, and I saw the familiar expression of dismissal. She didn't care about my feelings. She didn't care about my achievement. She only cared about Miranda. "Fine," I said, my voice cold. "You know what? I'm done. I'm done with this family. I'm done with being invisible." I walked out of the dressing room, out of the building, and out of the ceremony. I didn't attend my graduation. I didn't walk across the stage. I didn't hear my name called or feel the pride of accomplishment. Instead, I sat in my car in the parking lot, crying until I had no tears left. The photos of Miranda in my cap and gown were all over social media within hours. My mother had posted them, beaming with pride. Miranda had captioned them, "graduation vibes," as if she'd done something. I received dozens of messages from friends and acquaintances congratulating me on graduating, but none of them knew the truth. None of them knew that the photos were of my sister. I didn't respond to any of them. The week after the graduation was the loneliest of my life. My mother called me once, her voice clipped and annoyed. "Avery, you need to get over this. You're being childish. Miranda didn't mean any harm and you're ruining the celebration." "What celebration?" I asked. "You had her wear my cap and gown and pretended she was the graduate. What exactly was I celebrating?" "The fact that you graduated, of course. You should be proud of yourself instead of attacking your sister." I hung up. I couldn't argue with her anymore. I started seeing a therapist, trying to process the betrayal. Dr. Simmons was patient and kind, helping me understand that my feelings were valid valid. You worked hard for your degree, she said. You earned it, and your sister stole that moment from you. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to be hurt, but my mother doesn't see it that way, I said. She thinks I'm being dramatic. Your mother has been enabling your sister for years, Dr. Simmons said gently. That's a pattern that's unlikely to change, but you can change. You can set boundaries. You can protect yourself. I started to set boundaries. I stopped answering my mother's calls. I stopped replying to Miranda's texts. I focused on myself, on my own healing, on building a life that didn't depend on their approval. I started a new job. A new chapter in my life. I made new friends, built new relationships, and slowly started to feel like myself again. But the pain of that day never fully went away. It lingered, a constant reminder of the family I'd lost. The months after my graduation were a strange, painful limbo. I'd cut myself off from my family, and the silence was deafening. I'd always been the one who kept the peace, who smoothed things over, who made sure everyone was happy, but I was done. I was done being the invisible daughter. The one who didn't matter. My mother called me every few weeks. I let them go to voicemail. Her messages ranged from apologetic to defensive to accusatory. She'd start out sweet, telling me she missed me, that she loved me, that she wanted to see me. Then she'd pivot, blaming me for tearing the family apart and being so dramatic. I deleted every message without responding. Miranda didn't call at all. She'd gotten what she wanted. Attention, validation, the feeling of being the center of the world. She didn't need me anymore. I threw myself into my work, my therapy, my own small life. I started painting again, something I hadn't done since high school. It was therapeutic, the way the brush moved across the canvas, the way the colors blended together. I painted landscapes, portraits, abstract pieces that expressed emotions I couldn't put into words. I started dating a man named Daniel. He was quiet, kind, and completely different from anyone I'd ever been with. He didn't try to fix me. He just listened. He understood that I had baggage, and he didn't run away from it. You've been through a lot, he said one evening. I can see it in your eyes, but I'm not going anywhere. I felt tears prick at my eyes. I don't know how to trust people anymore. My own family betrayed me. I know, he said, taking my hand. But I'm not your family. I'm just a guy who likes you and wants to be part of your life. That's all. No pressure. No expectations. It was exactly what I needed to hear. A few months later, I got a call from my cousin, Vanessa. She was my mother's sister's daughter, and we'd always been close. She'd stayed out of the family drama, but she'd been keeping an eye on things from a distance. Avery, she said, her voice hesitant. I need to tell you something. It's about Miranda. My heart sank. What about her? She's been posting photos of your graduation. Not just the ones from that day. She's been sharing them over and over, pretending she's the one who graduated. She's been telling people that she went to college, that she earned a degree. She's been living this whole fake life. I felt the familiar rage rise in my chest. Miranda had stolen my moment. She'd stolen my achievement. And now she was stealing my identity. Why would she do that? I asked, my voice shaking. Because she's jealous, Avery. She's always been jealous. She can't stand that you accomplished something she couldn't, so she's trying to take it from you. But I have my diploma, I said. I have the proof. She can't just pretend she graduated. She can and she is, Vanessa said. I'm sorry, Avery. I thought you should know. I hung up and sat in the silence of my apartment, trying to process what I'd just heard. My sister wasn't just jealous. She was delusional. She'd convinced herself that my achievements were hers. I called my therapist the next day. What do? I asked. She's living a lie and everyone is believing it. You have a choice, Dr. Simmons said. You can let it go and focus on your own life, or you can confront her and expose the truth. Neither option is easy, but one of them might give you the closure you need. I thought about it for a long time. I'd spent so much of my life letting things go, letting Miranda get away with everything. I was tired of being the bigger person. I was tired of being invisible. I decided to confront her. I drove to Miranda's apartment that weekend. She was living in a trendy part of town, the kind of place that would have been way out of her budget if she'd been paying for it herself. But she'd never been good with money. She'd always been a taker, never a giver. She opened the door, her face a mask of fake surprise. Avery, I didn't expect to see you. I'm sure you didn't, I said, pushing past her into the apartment. We need to talk. She closed the door, her expression shifting to wary. About what? About your Instagram, I said. About the photos you've been posting. About the lies you've been telling everyone. She laughed, a dismissive, hollow sound. Oh, that. It's just social media, Avery. Everyone lies on social media. It's not a big deal. It's a big deal to me, I said, my voice shaking. You're pretending to be me. You're pretending you graduated from college. You're stealing my achievements. I'm not stealing anything, she said, her voice sharpening. I'm just sharing the experience. It's not like I'm actually trying to get a job with your degree or anything. Then why are you doing it? I demanded. Why do you need to pretend to be me? She was quiet for a moment. When she spoke, her voice was small, almost childlike. Because I wanted to know what it felt like to be successful, to have people be proud of me. I stared at her, feeling a strange mix of anger and pity. You could have had that, Miranda. You could have gone to college. You could have worked hard, but you chose not to. And instead of being happy for me, you decided to steal my moment. I know, she said, her voice breaking. I know I messed up, but I didn't think it would matter to you. Didn't think it would matter? I repeated, incredulous. Miranda, you wore my cap and gown on my graduation day. You took photos pretending to be me. You posted them online and everyone thought you were the one who'd graduated. You stole my achievement. You stole my identity. How could you not think that would matter? She started crying. I'd never seen her cry before. Not real tears, not like this. It was unsettling, disorienting. For a moment, I almost felt sorry for her. I'm sorry, she said. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to hurt you. I wanted to feel important for once. I took a deep breath. Miranda, I'm not going to tell you that everything is okay, because it's not. You hurt me. You betrayed me. And I need time to process that. I understand, she said, wiping her tears. What can I do? You can take down the photos, I said. All of them. And you can tell everyone the truth, that you didn't graduate, that I did. That you lied, she nodded slowly. I'll do it. I'll do whatever it takes. I walked out of her apartment, feeling a strange sense of release. I'd confronted her. I'd said what I needed to say. And I'd given her the chance to make it right, but I didn't trust her. I didn't trust that she'd actually change. And I wasn't sure if I'd ever be able to forgive her. Miranda took down the photos the next day. I checked her Instagram obsessively, waiting for her to do the right thing, and she did. One by one, the photos disappeared. The cap and gown, the diploma case, the smug smile that had haunted me for months. She even posted a brief, cryptic message. Correction. These photos were from my sister's graduation. Congratulations, Avery. I'm proud of you. It wasn't a full confession. It wasn't an apology to everyone she'd deceived, but it was something, a small step toward making things right. I didn't respond to the post. I didn't thank her. I wasn't ready for that. A few weeks later, I received a letter from Miranda. It was handwritten on plain paper, her handwriting shaky and uncertain. Avery, it began, I know I don't deserve your forgiveness. I know I've hurt you in ways I can never undo, but I want you to know that I've been thinking about everything, about what I did, about why I did it. I sat down on my couch, my heart pounding, and kept reading. I've been in therapy for the past few months. I've been trying to understand why I'm so jealous of you, why I can't just be happy for you, and I've realized something that's hard to admit. I'm jealous because I've never accomplished anything. I've never worked for anything. I've never earned anything. And instead of changing my life, I decided to take yours. She wrote about her childhood, about the pressure of being the golden child who could never live up to expectations. She wrote about the shame of dropping out of high school, of watching me succeed while she failed. She wrote about the desperate need for attention, for validation, for proof that she mattered. I spent my whole life wanting to be you, she wrote, and instead of trying to become you, I tried to steal from you. I took your graduation, your identity, your moment. I convinced myself that I deserved it, but I didn't. I never did. I set the letter down, my hands trembling. I'd waited so long to hear these words, but now that they'd come, I didn't know what to feel. I talked to my therapist about it. She's finally acknowledging what she did, I said. She's finally taking responsibility, but I don't know if I can trust her. You don't have to trust her, Dr. Simmons said gently. Trust takes time. It has to be earned. But if you're willing, you can start with small steps. A phone call, a coffee, a conversation without expectations. I don't know if I'm ready for that. You don't have to be ready today. You can take as much time as you need. But I want you to think about what you want. Do you want a relationship with your sister? Or do you want to walk away? I thought about it for a long time. I thought about the sister I'd once loved, the sister I'd grown up with, the sister who'd taught me how to do my makeup and held my hand when I was scared. She was still in there somewhere, buried under years of jealousy and insecurity. Maybe she was trying to find her way back. I wrote back to Miranda a few weeks later. I kept it brief. Dear Miranda, I wrote, thank you for your letter. I'm glad you're getting help. I'm glad you're starting to understand what you did. I'm not ready to forgive you, but I'm willing to talk. No promises. Just two sisters trying to figure out if there's anything left to salvage. We met at a small cafe, neutral ground. I arrived early, my palms sweating, my heart racing. When she walked in, I almost didn't recognize her. She looked different, softer, smaller, like she'd shed a layer of armor I hadn't known she was wearing. Avery, she said, her voice trembling. Thank you for coming. I nodded, gesturing for her to sit. I wasn't sure I would. I know. I didn't expect you to. She sat down, her hands wrapped around a cup of coffee she didn't drink. I've been thinking about what I want to say to you. I've been rehearsing it for weeks, but now that you're here, I don't know where to start. Start at the beginning, I said. Tell me why. She told me about the years of jealousy, the desperate need for attention, the spiral of self-destruction that had led her to steal my identity. She told me about the shame she felt, the guilt that kept her up at night. She told me about the therapy, the hard work of confronting her demons. I don't expect you to forgive me, she said. I don't deserve your forgiveness, but I want you to know that I'm trying. I'm trying to be better. I'm trying to be someone you could be proud of. I listened without interrupting, feeling a strange mix of emotions. Anger, sadness, and a flicker of something that might have been hope. I'm not going to tell you I forgive you, I said finally. I'm not there yet, but I'm willing to try. If you're willing to put in the work, I am, she said quickly. I'll do whatever it takes. We talked for hours that day, about everything and nothing. It wasn't a reconciliation. It was too raw, too painful for that. But it was a beginning. Over the next few months, we slowly rebuilt our relationship. It was fragile, tentative, full of setbacks and misunderstandings. But we kept trying. We kept showing up for each other. Miranda started volunteering at a local literacy program, teaching adults how to read. She was nervous at first, unsure of herself. But she was patient and kind, and her students loved her. She was finally building something of her own, something she'd earned. I started to see her differently differently. She wasn't the jealous sister who'd tried to steal my identity. She was a broken woman who was trying to heal. The holidays that year were different. Miranda came to my apartment for Christmas dinner. She brought a homemade pie and a tentative smile. Daniel was there, and my cousin Vanessa, and a few close friends. We sat around the table eating and talking and laughing. At one point, Miranda stood up and raised her glass. "I want to make a toast," she said, her voice trembling, "to Avery, the best sister anyone could ask for. I'm sorry it took me so long to see that." I felt tears prick at my eyes. I stood up and raised my own glass. "To second chances," I said, "and to the people who earn them." We clinked glasses and drank. It wasn't a perfect moment. It was messy and complicated and full of unspoken pain, but it was real. It was ours. A few months later, I graduated again, this time from a master's program. I decided to go back to school to earn a degree that was entirely my own. Miranda came to the ceremony. She sat in the front row, beaming with pride. When I walked across the stage, she stood up and cheered louder than anyone. Afterward, she hugged me tightly. "I'm so proud of you," she said. "You earned this. All of it." I hugged her back. "Thank you for being here." "I'll always be here," she said. "I promise." I didn't know if I could trust that promise, but I wanted to. And that was enough for now. I thought about my mother, who'd never really understood. She'd called me once, after the holidays, to tell me she was glad we'd finally made peace. I didn't have the energy to explain that peace wasn't something that happened overnight. It was something you built, day by day, moment by moment. I still had bad days. Days when the anger came back, when I remembered everything Miranda had done and wanted to scream at her. But those days were fewer now. They were smaller. I was learning to live with the weight of the past. I was learning to let go. And I was learning to forgive, not because Miranda deserved it, but because I deserved peace. I thought about the day of my graduation. The stolen moment, the invisible tears, the empty stage. I'd never get that moment back. But I'd built something new. A life that was entirely my own. I'd graduated twice now. I'd found love. I'd found purpose. And I'd found the strength to forgive. Not just Miranda, but myself. For all the years I'd stayed silent. For all the years I'd let them make me feel invisible. I was visible now. I was seen. And I was finally truly proud of myself.